Hey everyone, it's Nicole here today for Mama Elephant with a card featuring the Dandelion Wishes, stamps and coordinating dies, and the 3D pop-up card. 3D pop-up cards are all the rage, and the dies here make creating a 3D pop-up so super easy. I think there is nothing cuter than opening up a fun envelope and getting an incredible card with not only cute critters, but when you take it out and pop this up, it comes to life. It's 3D, it's so much fun. So I'm going to share with you how to put this together. There are some things you can do that make it so much easier, and that's what I'm going to show first. And that is putting things together when the panels are still flat. So I have die cut 2 of the 3D pop-up card base and then 4 of the grass or hill layers. What I love about that die is I'll show you in a little bit. Score tape is fantastic, and I like to lay mine out flat and go ahead and put it into one long strip. We're not going to make it into the box quite yet. Now I'm going to use the score tool and score all of these lines. One big tip about making a 3D pop-up card is the back panel you do not want to score. So I like to kind of fold it all up, and we want to keep that back panel straight. We do not want to fold it down on the score line. I folded the 2 short sides and the front panel down and then used my bone folder on that. But you can see I've left the back panel flat. When you lay the card flat, it's going to fit perfectly into an A2 sized envelope. But I don't want to put it together until I've added my inserts. Now this insert is awesome, you guys. You can use it either with the hill, or you can flip it around and use the grass. I'm going to use a combination of both because I figured why not. But think about this. Maybe you're creating a winter scene. You could use that stitched hill and make it snow. You could make it ground of any sort for whatever scene you're creating. I like to use the score tape on all my little tabs, and I've got several different shades of green cardstock. Now, one of the big things about putting this together is I like to start with my first tab kind of lined up usually with the crease of the card. What I decided to do here so that they were a little staggered, most of them are not, is that I did end up pulling this off, and you can see it tore on the score line. I'm just going to save this because I actually need that for another part of the card. But I am going to just take it down a little bit. I'm lining up more of that bottom little curve of the hill with the score line of the card. You would not have to do this. You could definitely line them all up. But I'm only removing the score tape from one tab. We're going to line up this tab all the way across for however many layers we're doing. You could add as many of these as you want. Consider them, think of them as layers on your card. I'm doing 4. For me, that's about enough to give me enough room to put everything I want to put in there. And I will add one more like I was mentioning. But I like to only adhere one side, and that's for a very specific reason. They are extremely hard to line up if you try to do it after you've assembled the box. So I've got everything lined up here. See that cute little fence piece? Is that not adorable? That also comes in the 3D pop-up card. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that to my back layer real quick. You could do this afterwards if you wanted to as well. I'm a big fan of doing as much as possible before you actually assemble the box. I'm also going to have this little blue sky piece on the back. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. Again, it's a lot easier with the card laying flat than when it's already assembled into the box shape. And I think I used the wrong size, so I'm just going to put the right one here. And this is just some nice light blue cardstock that offers a nice contrast to all of the green. So here's kind of what it's going to look like. That one side is not attached yet. Gives you a good idea of how much you have to fill. So let's go ahead and attach the tabs to the other short side of the box. The tabs are attached to the short sides. You want to line those up. I peel off the backing paper from the score tape and keep those little tabs folded over, but keep that lined up as much as possible. Then you want to fold the other short side into those, press down, and when you pop that down, look at how they are perfectly lined up and where they need to go. That is, you guys, it makes creating these cards so much easier. I can't tell you how much I struggled when I tried to assemble the box and then put those tabs in and get them lined up. It just does not work. I have stamped, I believe, every die cuttable image from Dandelion Wishes for this card today. One of the great things about these pop-up box cards is it really allows you to make a super full scene. I'm a big fan of scene cards. You guys probably know that if you follow me already. And one of my absolute favorite things is to really make a comprehensive scene. Find lots of things that go together. So not only am I going to use all of these adorable images from Dandelion Wishes for my card, but I went through my collection of Mama Elephant stamps, and really within the last few months or so, they have released a bunch of cute critter stamp sets that have similar illustration. And two of those is Hippity Hop and Tea with Friends. Hippity Hop is all bunnies. So the bunnies in it are going to coordinate perfectly with the cute little bunnies from Dandelion Wishes. And then you guys probably already know this about me too if you've seen any of my Mama Elephant videos. The birds from Tea with Friends just go with everything. And there is a bunch of them. I think 6 different birds in Tea with Friends. And it is amazing to go with so many different cards, especially cards in this kind of illustration style. And so they work really, really well with this. And I am going to go ahead and stamp additional images to fill in the rest of my card. We're going to and I'm also going to stamp multiple mushroom images and multiple dandelion images. That is going to help fill in the side panels, the front panel that folds down, and even some extra areas within the pop-up card itself. I did leave the coloring in the video. I know this video is pretty long. Several of my videos are kind of long. Interactive cards in general do take a little bit more effort, and I really wanted to leave in the steps in how to put this together. I know I've probably shared it before with other 3D pop-up cards, but I think it's always a good reminder because they can look a little intimidating, and I want this to be as easy as possible for you guys. If you're picking up that 3D pop-up card, I want you to play with it. I want you to create cards with it, and I'm hoping that this video helps you with that. And I know a lot of you also love the coloring process, and so I'm trying to leave that in for you guys as well, and hopefully I'm hitting everything with this video. I am using kind of a more muted color palette. I did the bunnies in a color combination that I don't normally, some nice light earth tones, and I think it might be my new favorite color combination for bunnies. I really love how they turned out. A lot of E31, let me double check real quick, E30, E31, E35, and E0000. That's to really lighten that up. And then R00 for the insides of the ears and cheeks. The mushrooms, my favorite by far color combination of the spring and summer is this peachy pink, which is R30, 32, and 35. I use it all the time. It provides a fantastic pop of color with all the greens and the blues and the neutrals that are going on. I'm a advocate for adding color and pop of color, and a lot of times that will be red. This definitely falls into that category. It might be peachy pink, but it's got enough of that red color in it that it just provides a fantastic pop of color. The tree stump and some great earth tones, E43, 44, 47. The raccoon, some warm grays. I tend to do my critters in warm grays as opposed to cool grays or other grays that you could use. Warm grays for me have that nice brown undertone, which works really well for critters. And I built up the gray color. I started pretty light and built that up for that cute little raccoon. My dandelions, They're in yellow-red colors, and just some nice greens for all the greenery. I used a little bit more of the reds for the ladybug. There's a bumblebee, some blue violets for the wings, the little mouse hanging on to his dandelion up in the air. I'm going to show you a fun way to attach this cute little guy to a pop-up card so it actually appears he is floating up in the air. He's in some warm grays. And then my little chipmunk or squirrel, I'm not exactly sure what he is. We'll just go with that, I guess. Whatever. He is E11, 13, 15, some more E0000, and R00 for him. A little bit more of a reddish tint to him than the bunnies. I definitely wanted him to have a little bit different coloring. I also traced over the dandelions with my yellow marker to give them more color instead of leaving them black. That's something I've been trying out lately and I really like it. So here are those additional images I was talking about. More mushrooms, more bunnies. Those bunnies are from Hippity Hop. More flowers from Dandelion Wishes, and of course the cute little birds from Tea with Friends. We're going to die cut all these now, and we're going to grab all of our images, and we are going to start doing the fun part, and that is scene building. I like to generally start with my biggest image, which is going to be the raccoon sitting on the tree stump with the mushrooms. And I do this because you want to make sure that you leave room for that guy. And so I usually start with him, fill in with my kind of mid-size images, and then finish with the small stuff, because that can be tucked here and there and all over the place. Tweezers are your best friend here. These tweezers stay shut, reverse tweezers. I love them for putting a little liquid glue on something and holding it to the insert on my card. So you can see I'm just simply moving it from one to another to hold those images in place. And that guy did not get quite where I wanted him, so I'm just going to scoot him over real quick. But again, the tweezers, they're invaluable when creating something like this because they just hold everything down. Now, don't be afraid that little let's call him a chipmunk, I don't know. His tail, don't be afraid of it hanging off the side. Because this card folds down flat, as long as it doesn't stick up higher than that back panel, it's going to stay within the A2 frame, meaning 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. The only real thing you've got to kind of keep an eye on is to make sure nothing sticks up higher than the back of that card. It's going to stay within the frame. So you can see his tail sticking out, but when the card folds flat, it is not going to get squished. So that's one of the amazing things about designing with these pop-up cards is it just still all folds flat. I like to double check as I'm working to keep a really good idea and make sure nothing is going to fall apart. Now, that border, or not border, the insert we used created those 4 layers in the card. You can also tear off the tabs on the side, which you can see that I did here. I'm going to actually use this to create a grass border in the very back of my card. So you can use it a couple different ways. You can actually use it as the tabs, as we did, and you can use it to adorn the long tabs here. This comes in handy because there's also a smaller tab that matches this long one that will work for the 2 short side panels, and I'll show you that as well. So here's that side panel. I just trimmed off the grass border. We're going to use the hilly border for the 2 panels on the front, or the panel on the front rather, and the 2 panels on the side. I just trimmed off the grass to make it a little bit shorter. I've cut some additional panels for the sides of the card from some light blue cardstock that I'm going to attach, and then just put my little grassy border on that. I really love the look when the panels are all decorated as well. You can do it any way you want, but I kind of like that from any angle it's got something fun to look at. I generally don't go quite as crazy with the side panels, but I did try to fill them in. So I'm going to fill them in with one of the other mushroom images, a bird, one of the bunnies, a couple of flowers, things like that. So all of these little extra images are coming in super handy for doing that. Now I've got some clear acetate here. This is leftover from Shaker Card Projects. This is how I create a little, like the mouse hanging out in the sky. The clear acetate makes it so it's clear and see-through, but it looks like the little mouse is floating up on this dandelion. So I'm trying to figure out which layer to put him on, making sure this is where you don't want it to pop up higher. That's what I'm showing there. And I attached him with glue dots. I find glue dots work the best for attaching these images. And then I do another glue dot on the bottom of my clear strip. And then you just want to kind of position him so it looks like he's floating up there in the sky. We're going to do the same thing for the bumblebee and the ladybug. And we'll go ahead and grab those here in just a little bit. I'm going to adorn the back panel of my card with lots of flowers, the mushrooms, a couple of birds. I like the back of my card, the background, to have plenty going on too. Lots to look at everywhere you go. So I started with the large mushroom image, and then I'm filling in with the smaller dandelions. And one of these cute little birds from Tea with Friends is going to be sitting on top of that mushroom. The blue of these little bluebirds also adds a nice pop of color to a card that is very neutral heavy. So here is the bumblebee attached to one of those little clear strips. I call them little clear picks. Just any clear material that you have like this that's kind of sturdy, acetate works fantastic, is going to work for this. And then you can simply find cute little areas to have them buzzing and flying above. So see how that bumblebee looks like he's flying up there, and the little mouse looks like he's flying and floating away with his dandelion. And then the bumblebee is going to be flying up front in the card. And because it's a clear material, you can see through it even though it's right in front. So like the ladybug pick is right in front of the cute little bunny holding a dandelion back there against the fence, but you can still see him because it's a clear material. And then I fold it flat a lot while I'm working just to kind of secure the glue and make sure it's staying nice and put where I put it. So then we're going to simply finish the sides. Here are the mushrooms I was talking about. We're going to put on the left side of the card. I colored those exactly the same as the ones that are on the background. On the other side, we're going to have a bunny. We're going to have a couple flowers. And that front panel is where I'm going to have a sentiment and leave room for a little handwritten message and to write my name. You could also die cut additional panels if you wanted to put on the outside of the card. I've done that as well, where you could have sentiments if you want to keep the inside pop-up a complete scene with no sentiment whatsoever. It's completely up to you how you want to put that together. I did make sure I had plenty of birds. I think I've got 3 here. You could use all 6 if you wanted to. And I tried to decide exactly where I wanted everything to go on the panels. I ended up leaving that front flap panel pretty bare except for one cute little bunny. And that was just so I had plenty of room to write something if I wanted to later. Glue dots are fantastic for adding these little pieces to the side panels. I'm going to tear off the tabs on another little grass border now. Trim that down so it doesn't stick up quite so high. We're going to use the smooth edge, the kind of hilly edge, instead of the grass. And then we'll attach the stamped and embossed sentiment. Both those little sentiment phrases are from Dandelion Wishes. Glue, I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the grass or the other one. I really just kind of cut it in half, so I decided to use this one instead. We'll glue this down to the bottom and then add the bunny. And I've got one bird left. I originally considered attaching the bird to one of the clear picks and having it kind of float, and ended up deciding that I think it looks better directly on that background panel instead. there's plenty going on. There's plenty of cute little things floating around. So I'll just save the clear pick for another time, and we'll put the bird directly on that back panel so it looks like he's kind of floating up above the dandelions, if you will. But you can see I thought I was going to put him on a pick, and I think that would be cute too, but I just thought, I think I have enough going on. This is a pretty full scene, so I just changed my mind. But it's definitely an option, so I left it in here in case you want to do something similar. So when you fold your box all the way down, this does fit into an A2 sized envelope. Here it is in an envelope. The recipient will pull it out, and you will just kind of pop it up into a shape. Those sides and the front will naturally fold down because we've scored them. And there is a cute little scene. And this card is just an adorable little decoration then for the recipient. They can set it on their shelf. They can, display it if they want to. Really fun, so interactive, and just a really, really cool way to send a greeting to friends and family. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for a 3D pop-up card featuring Mama Elephant stamps and dies. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope this has inspired you to maybe try your own 3D pop-up. They are addictive, they are super duper fun, and I love that Mama Elephant has added this to their collection. The supplies I've used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Mama Elephant stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we will see you next time.